Welcome to another episode of Breakthrough 2026. A little different setup here today because we're in our podcast studio,
Yeah,
which is
we
pretty
just
sweet.
finished our Agent Apprentice podcast, so if you haven't seen that, look that up.
Definitely, yeah. You can see that on the Dow Group YouTube channel, which you're on now, but also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts too. But I wanted to talk to you about our tracking.
Yep.
So we have a bunch of different goals for this year to make it a breakthrough year.
Mhm.
From business to also our health. So first off, let's talk about the push-up challenge.
Right.
100,000 for the year.
Right.
How are you going about tracking
I
that?
probably have it in my pocket, actually. Yes, this is my second note card. We can do a video of my other note card that's been tattered, but every tick mark is 25. So I'm
Nice.
doing 275 a day.
Yep.
25 at a time. Sometimes I'll bang up 50 if I'm feeling it.
Yep.
So that's just a simple. It's actually nice to tick them off and see the progress and not be guessing throughout the day, and a sense of accomplishment once I hit that 11th one at night.
Yeah, exactly. I've been doing it a little bit differently because you're doing the old-fashioned pen to paper,
Yeah,
which is a good way to do it.
very unlike me.
Yeah. Well, the dullest of pencils is always better than the sharpest of minds.
Oh,
So that's
there we go. I
yeah.
like that.
So it's always better to write stuff down. I've been doing it a different way. I bought the big ass calendar
Yep.
from
Jesse Itzler.
yes, yep. I got an ad for that, and he got me with it. Now it's hanging in my room. Giant calendar. I'll kind of overlay the video here so you can see. But I just write each day because every day is up on this calendar. Write in what I'm filling out, and you just hit the 11,000 mark.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm at like 7,500 right now. I'm gotta play catch up. This lagging shoulder, not feeling good, but doing a lot of stretching, taking like a week off where I'm only doing like 50 a day just to make sure I get back to normal here. And then I'm going to have to bump that number up to like 350 a day,
Yeah.
which will be okay.
Yeah.
It's still manageable. Especially if, you wake up in the morning and, before even coming to work, you already have like 100 done.
Yep. I try to do 50 before I even do anything. So I did that this morning. I had to get up early. My wife's away, so I had to do school drop off. So, I went to the 5:30 gym class. And so, I mean, that's the other, part of the how do I track or keep accountable. I'm a very bad coach for myself, and I'm a very bad physical trainer for myself.
Yeah.
I'll go to the gym and I was going to do 4 sets, but I think 3 is good. It's just like letting myself off, things like that. So I need that accountability and coach. So, and I made a commitment to myself that if I signed up for a class, that I wouldn't skip it.
Right.
And I think I've been there 3 years. I think I've only missed 2, and one was because we had to bring the dog to the vet, or it was like something that was legit. Because there are people that sign up, and there's a wait list. Sometimes I might be taking somebody's spot. So just putting some responsibility around it and say, all right, let's draw the line in the sand. So Sunday night, sign up for the week, and go.
Yep. Very cool. Very cool. The other thing that I signed up for was jujitsu, which has been super fun. I've been going 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, over at Hook Fight & Co. We're actually going over there next Friday to kind of see what their business is all about and go through some drills, which will be fun. But I'm getting beat up every day, but I'm having so much fun doing it, which is good. So I'll stick with that throughout the year. It's pretty easy to hold myself accountable to it just because, one, you're paying for it every month, right?
And you signed up.
Exactly.
You've told somebody you're going to show up.
Yep, exactly. So that's a huge part of it is just, because I either get you or Sarah asking me, how was jujitsu today? So, I want to say, well, I was there, not that I slept in.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like the push-ups. I've told too many people I'm doing it.
Right.
Back out now.
Exactly.
We had the thing at the gym. They had little stars and writing in what's your goal for the year.
Mhm.
Put the 100,000 push-ups for the year. So everybody's wondering.
Yeah. Yep. And then the other goal that you had was to get more agents into the Century Club. So how are you like kind of tracking that Because that's obviously, again, it's a year-long goal.
Yep.
We're just into the first quarter of this year. You mentioned it on one of our morning calls, is that typically, we do 10% of our business in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you kind of tracking that right now?
Yeah. So for us, it's activity. It's doing reps. If I track closings, then we'd be, way behind, 90% behind, because we're not doing a lot this time of year. But one of the reasons that I have the number of calls on every call, like who's making phone calls, is because if you make phone calls, you will make money.
Yeah.
So if I came up to you and said, "Hey, how are your phone calls doing?"
Yeah.
And then I said, "Do you want to call some expireds?" And
the number's gone up, and we're talking to more people.
We just did a whole podcast on the fact that you got 3 listings. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not 3 appointments. So,
right.
I'm kind of behind the scenes, just looking and nudging and things like that. But the great thing about Brivity, our CRM, is I can see what people are doing. I can see who's active, who's not active, and I also look at who's showing up to our power ups. We have a meeting on Monday. We have a meeting on Tuesday. They both have special strategies around them. I get super frustrated when people don't show up to the 11 o'clock contracts classes, because that's our trade, is knowing the contracts inside and out. And that's a Keller Williams class that we get to take advantage of. Thursdays is the 9:30, and that's kind of our longer, we talked about home sale clauses today. And, so I had a conversation with Ryan this morning about, all right, who's been showing up, who hasn't been showing up. Because if you're showing up and you're involved, you're going to make more money.
Yeah.
If you kind of peter off and kind of do your own thing, you're not going to make money.
Right. Yeah. It's the name of the game. Just talking to people, putting in the work, the activities, and eventually it'll start snowballing.
Yep.
Yeah. For me, like, my goal is the $18 million volume goal for this year. One thing that I've been tracking is, one, it's huge to have Brivity, just have everybody in the same space under your name. You don't really have to go digging for them. We have categories to see. Are they, watch? Are they nurture? Setting tasks as well as to when to follow up with them, when to call. All right, I'm going to interrupt this conversation real quick just to show you more in depth as to what Brivity is, which I got pulled up here. This is our CRM that we use as a team. Everybody on the team is using it, and this is where Adam does a really good job of bringing in leads through our website or different sources, and then they all get filtered into Brivity here. So if they're not assigned to anybody, we can go through different filters and call people that haven't been spoken to, but they may have signed up on our website, and reach out to them. We have their information here, and this is a great way to find business and add people to my potential business list. Now, in Brivity, I also have my own pond. We call them ponds, where I manage everybody that I've spoken to and am starting to build a relationship with. So as you can see here in my pond, I have 70 leads, so people that I am managing. And then over here, there's like different categories that they're in. So they're nurture or watch, and this gives me an idea as to what their time frame is as to when they may be doing something, whether that's buying or selling. But I like to be very analytical, and sometimes to my own downfall, but I created a spreadsheet as well that's like my potential business tracker. So this is my 2026 business tracker. It's broken down into a few tabs at the bottom. So we have closed, under contract, active listings, active buyers, and then potential business. This is the closed tab, so I'm looking at total volume, total earnings for this year, average sales price, units closed, and total GCI. The difference between the GCI and the total earnings is the total GCI is what I make for the company, and then the total earnings is what I personally make. The big tab that we're focusing on right now, because as you can see, there's nothing closed here. We're into February. I'm starting behind, but I do have a lot of potential business here. I'm not going to get too zoomed in because I don't want to show names, addresses, all that stuff. But this is people that are more than likely, more than 50% sure that they are going to be buying or selling. So I have a pretty big list here, and a lot of these time frames are end of March, beginning of April. So going into quarter two should have a good amount of business there, but this is what I'm focusing on here is adding names to this list so that way I have future business coming up this year and just stacking this so then they result into the active listings tab, the under contract tab, and then the close tab. This is what we're working towards, but it all starts with the potential business tab. And it's been very helpful because I've found that I have somewhere between like 6 and 10 listings that say we're ready, come March, April as the snow starts to melt. But also being that I can pull that up and reminding myself, like, let me just touch base with them. So I feel like I've done a much better job this year with people who have said that they are going to be doing something in the future and staying more constant contact with them and not waiting for them to reach out to me. Just one, to maintain the relationship. So that, we don't fall by the wayside, but also you never know, I could call them, one day and they say, actually, we're ready now. Yep. Right. So always being prepared for that.
And I think that in your face, all in one spot type spreadsheet is really good for hot leads, right? Mm-hmm. They're now business. They're going to transact this year, most likely.
Yep.
You want to keep them top of mind. You want to make sure that, have I done the next right thing? What's the next step for each of those people?
Yep.
But the Brivity and the CRM, that's for the people that you talk to and said, I'm going to be ready in 2 years, or I'm thinking about listing, but I'm not sure. Like, it's the nurture and watches that have to be in the background.
Yeah.
Whether there's a market report on them so they can be learning about the market and, seeing when a house comes on the market, that's one data point. But then when you get an email to say what it actually sold for, which is what our market reports will do,
mm-hmm.
they can better determine, is it the right time for them to sell? So we want to have those things working in the background that do add value, but don't pester and things like that. So I think having that now business in a spreadsheet is good, but you also have the brevity behind the scenes, keeping track of people that you've had great conversations with. It's just not now business.
Right. Exactly. And that's something that I used to be very, very bad at, was just not staying in contact, where I may have spoke with someone. They said, yeah, eventually I'm going to list my house. And then, that was the conversation, kind of kept them in the back of my mind. And the next thing you know, I see that they're on the market with someone else who's probably in a little bit more better contact than I was.
One of the things I should be better at, because I know how powerful the potential listing tag is. It's just, all right, I just saw this person in the grocery store. They're thinking about listing. Just throw the tag on in the CRM. And then when every month or so, you go through them all and say, have I talked to that person in this past month or whatever?
Yep.
It's just, we're not pressure people, but we're also, we want to be there when they're ready.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. So next video, I guess, what do you think we should dive into? I mean, this is going to be a year-long series. We've kind of set up our baseline health goals.
I think you should ask me how bad or good I was.
Okay.
Because I'm speaking in Family Reunion.
Oh, that's right.
Here in Atlanta, doing the luxury talk there. And then I've got Barbados, going to our condo down in Barbados for a few days. And
yep.
I've had vacations down there where I ran every day. There's a nice 4-mile loop right along the ocean.
Yep.
And there's also a nice pool that I can just sit next to and not do anything.
Right. Eat some good snacks.
All right. You can give me how healthy were you on vacation?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's figure out how healthy we are, at least through the first 2 months here, and if we're on track, if we're going to get that 6-pack or not.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.